Hi, Grace.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good, good, good.
Nice
Thank
to
you.
see your office.
Well, welcome, and thank you for visiting me.
My pleasure. So, I love the smell of your type of business because it smells so clean. It's always a unique smell when you walk into, a place where people are concerned about their health and wellness. And I don't know what that smell is. It's always kind of perplexed me. Is it tea tree oil or a combination of some different herbs?
Well, in it's interesting because today and most of the time, really, I don't even spray anything because I'm kind of sensitive that the person who might be coming might have some sensitivity. But so whatever you're smelling, either it's coming already from the accumulated years of using non-toxic products,
Right.
and so we don't accrete anything on the walls around, and definitely on my body, on our
Right.
body. So, and I tend to use a lot of the essential oils.
So it's probably essential oils,
Right,
right?
right, correct,
Yeah.
correct. So,
All right.
and so I remember my friends before, many years ago, said, every time we hug you, Grace, you just smell so good, or we can remember it. So then they tell their friends, and sometimes they would tell their, let's say, significant others, and they start getting jealous. Then they will say, nothing to be jealous with Grace. We're all friends with you.
So that's so funny that you tell me that story. And so Grace, first, we kind of jumped in here, but tell me a little bit about what your business is, and do you have a name for your business?
Yeah, well, it's Optimal Health and Wellness with Grace, and in public, I'm mostly known as Quantum Nurse.
Right.
And I am a holistic registered nurse, and I did have that certification, but from being holistic, I kind of specialize on that quantum energy practice, and that's using quantum reflex analysis for testing your biofield and beyond the biofield, because biofield is just one of the morphogenetic fields that we live in. Um, so, but I have also access to, if people wanted lab works like urine lab, yes, and then saliva lab. So, and then that's in addition to the energy testing, because my philosophy is that we're more than physical body. So we could do all that test and but there's some energy between the two of us. That's why we connected. And even if we're from a distance, so if you're looking at your health just on the physical level, then that kind of like leads to a lot of chronic conditions, and that's why people can get over their chronic conditions, or it leads them there. So in that quantum reflex analysis, then we cover emotional repolarization technique. So basically, again, based on the Chinese ancient Ayurvedic and all the traditional, even in Philippine indigenous healing, that each chronic problem always leads to an emotional, underlying emotional situation. And this, again, emotional situation can lead to relationships. And that's even root cause, that it doesn't necessarily mean just in the present. It could mean way back in the past. And sometimes one can be in the mother's belly, so it's no fault of your own, but your parents, whether it's a father or mother, but particularly the mother, because you're the one carrying it, could be affecting that person already. So basically, that's the main thing of what I do. And I have an expertise of supplementation, um, and also helping them guide with their holistic lifestyle, from eating that they would want to be consistent. I'm not going to impose on my food habits, on my daily lifestyle, but that's just leading the person to have that consciousness that if you want to really make a change in your health or in your life, whatever aspect, definitely it's your decision, and I'm just there to like, kind of like spark that awareness and consciousness. So it sometimes people like in my practice don't really want to be bothered with that, and they change what they do because it can lead to me just getting frustrated if the person doesn't commit to what they want to do for themselves.
Yeah.
So for now, I think that's good.
I mean, you know, I think everybody faces that in their profession. There are times when people don't listen to me and I give them really good advice, but they do what they want to do anyway. And it doesn't work out a lot, you know, most of the time it doesn't work out for them, but they never come back to me and say that I misled them.
Yeah.
You know, they just go, yeah, you know, and it's not like they apologize either. I'm not looking for an apology. It's
Right.
just, you know, things just work out that way, and they go, yeah, well, you told me that, but whatever. They made the decision, and they're comfortable with the decision they made because they made it for whatever their personal reasons were. You know, that's interesting. And what you were saying about your energy, and I found myself in a position where, you know, you're very huggable, right? So every time I see you, I give you a hug. We hug each other, and you definitely do have a distinct. Like when I walk away from you, I know that I've hugged you, right? And I can tell for hours that I've hugged you. And I always think when I go back to Carol, and I'm like, so I saw Grace today. Can you tell? You know, because you know, you got to wonder, like, can she smell Grace on me? I don't know. I smell Grace. You know.
I like that. I like that.
So, and you definitely have some real positive energy. There aren't that many people that you meet in your life that have that energy about them, and it's always a pleasure to see you. It leaves me feeling good for the whole day. You're a little shining star.
Well, thank you also for saying that. It's just nice to hear that now and then, and yeah, I've heard that already in the past, but it's nice too that I can continue to hear that, and that becomes also like yeah, food for my being. So then I said, oh, something, I must be doing something really good. Like I met 3 weeks ago, I met someone who hasn't seen me like for close to 10 years or maybe over more. And this lady is also connected with one of the best nutraceutical companies. And so we haven't been attending to in attending their webinars. So he said, "Oh, wow, you haven't changed." Then I said, so I just smiled. I said, "Oh, I must be doing something good then." So it's good to hear that, because I think I always tell people that there's always a chance to do well more in your life when you wake up in the morning, and that means you're given another chance. So I said, okay. So then, so the way I look at, say, what's your parameters of whether you're doing good with what you're doing, whether you're working with me or with another person, is look at your life. Are the outcomes that you like are favorable for you? Then continue that. If the outcomes are not favorable for you, then maybe, okay, time to reassess and then look at again little things, that you can change. Then from those little things, bigger effect comes from. So that's basically what I always tell people. So sometimes people whine so much, they just kind of end up complaining on everything and blame it on the DNA also. Right. Blame it on the family. That's another thing. Like, no, these are all just part of our, let's say that we came into this existence with some tools, but that doesn't mean that you cannot use that, you cannot modify things. Right. But it's again in our will, in our dedication. So don't blame it. So whatever it is, no one is stuck in one particular situation forever, whether it be physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, political. There's always we are responsible to make that change. And being around people like you, seriously, being around. And it's interesting that when you have that mindset and you have that perception, you do attract
Like
uh-huh.
and positive or that
Yeah,
kind of energy. Or
yeah, and you can feel that. You can feel that, and you would want that. So, like, if we may not see each other tomorrow or the next week or the next month, but that doesn't mean that you're not affecting me from a distance. But I know I'm okay that you are in my hologram because we have tested each other's frequencies already. So that's how I.
So, about your business a little bit. What's an ideal customer for you?
My ideal customer for me are those that have finally said, okay, I'm not going anywhere with this current things that I'm doing. Particularly if they really understand now that they have to stay away from the standard pharmaceutical interventions, or if their doctors is still insisting them to, let's just say, take so many kinds of tests, especially tests that are invasive, then think about it.
Right.
So that's my ideal, and hopefully with that person will come with a commitment that she is responsible for her health, for his health, and I'm just kind of like being the coordinator or the guide. Okay, so that's the most ideal. Now, specifically for those women and men who are struggling with their energy, or their energy, and that could be underlying with their hormones, and they can't sleep. They're always having problems with their digestions, and very anxious all the time. I have clients who they're very educated and they're very good with what they do, but for some reason they get so anxious when they're about to teach or they're about to have presentation. Then so that's the kind, so when and we could start by just them calling me on my phone or emailing me. I respond, and that initial conversation that will kind of fit, and I can work with people who wants to see me face to face if they're in the area, or if they want to be on the phone. So I'll try to make it work for their situation.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah. Where do you meet most of your clients?
Oh, lately it's been like on the phone. Okay, and we exchange information. But I meet them also at their homes.
Okay.
Because if I had clients before that they're not able to like drive on their own already, or they're just most comfortable to be at their homes.
Okay.
So I meet them. I can travel in just certain distance. There was a time there when before the pandemic, I used to go all the way to New York, and there sometimes I would even stay overnight with a couple. Okay, but not lately. So, and I want to be accessible to whoever, in whatever way. Like preferably, of course, for those people who are from other states or other countries. That's it just they have to keep it open to have a conversation, so we could find that common ground on how we can proceed.
What's something that would surprise people to know about you?
Oh, let's see. I don't know. There's a beautiful question. That's a great question. Oh, maybe this one. Some people don't know, or they get surprised that, because most I think some people think that when you are in a practice like holistic practice, that's you can always be always holy, whatever that means, or holy. Then I remember, oh, this one is really good. When I was even still in the primary or secondary grade, so way back in the Philippines, then when I got mad, and then I raised my voice, and then my teacher said, I don't think you can do that. I said, yes, I can. I am a human being. I have complete expressions of my emotions. So if I'm mad, I'm mad. So if I'm angry, I'm angry. So that was a good one. And the same thing as so when for many years, I worked in the hospital, and it just comes natural for me to smile at people and to the doctors. So then the doctors would say, okay, give Grace a little bit of caffeine, or, so that they could see me more like fast or get active or maybe get mad. So, but I do get mad, and it's then I like it that I can surprise people. And another one that I could surprise people, that okay, some people differentiate what is heavenly, holy, then they see me worldly. But when I say that, it's like they thought I don't go out dancing before in the club, and they see me say, oh sure, I'll go with you to the club. So then they know that, wow. And I remember the younger nurses at the hospital told me, Grace, come with me. We're going to the club tomorrow. Because I think we're going to have we'll meet a lot of people, a lot of guys, because if you come with us. So anyway, so that's the kind
You're the magnet.
Yeah, so that's that. I think that's, that's a beautiful question.
That's fun. Now, do you have children?
I have one. He's grown. He has his own family, and I have two grandchildren.
Really?
Yeah, so my grandchildren at this moment, one is going to 7, and the other one just turned 9.
Wow.
And since you asked that, so I'm proud to say that some of my friends, it's interesting, online and in person, thought they are my children.
Oh, that's
okay.
Cool. Yes.
Because I believe they see me very energetic, very creative, not like usual grandmothers.
Right.
But so they see me always doing with them, doing something.
Yeah. Are they local?
They're in Philadelphia.
Okay, not too far.
No, yeah. They come, they look for me. They want to spend time with Nanayla, which that's the equivalent for them calling me grandma. So with that, and then someone said, "Oh, I thought you remarried, you remarried and had more children." I said, "Well, I can remarry or something, but we're the same age. How do you expect me to have these young children?" So that's my secret, and that's why whatever I share to people for healthy aging and longevity and keeping your energy and focus, especially thinking, because there are some people from 40, 50s and above who can't think clearly now, and they have Alzheimer's or pre-Alzheimer's. So yeah, I'm proud of that, to be able to spend the quality of health that I have now, which I share to those who wants to have the same, and live that with my grandchildren, because I want to see them grow more, and they enjoy also their presence.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, my mother's down in Florida, so I don't get to see her as much as I would like, but she's 80 something years old, and it's interesting because when I was younger and we would go out together, people thought she was dating a younger guy.
I bet she loves that.
That was fun.
I like that. You had to go and visit her.
Definitely. So that's great. All right, so when you first meet a customer, well, you meet them typically online, so you ask them questions, I guess. Um, and then you said something earlier about like saliva test and something. What does the saliva test tell you?
Oh, a lot of things, and lately that's well known. The saliva test could tell you about the neurotransmitters, about hormones. It could tell you about possible mycotoxins, which all of us have. Okay, and some of it also could indicate some heavy metals. Okay, so it, in that alternative Western medicine, they have advanced a lot of possible ways to have those tests. And the wonderful thing is they're not as expensive. On my assessment, they're not as expensive as if they keep going to traditional practitioners, and then they just have limited information. They won't even do that. If they go to a traditional practitioner, the urine test is usually it's not really for anything but just maybe just
Anything
checking
that they have medication for.
Correct.
That they can sell you medicine, right?
Right, electrolytes. So, and there are good companies who are doing that already. And when I say inexpensive, because we will always say, oh, because most people will say, do you accept insurance? That's the truth is, all the good things about our health is they're not covered by the health insurance.
Right.
So I do have a national practitioner's identifier code or number, but that will be on the client's responsibility to see if that will be accepted by their insurance company.
Okay.
And when I emphasize about inexpensive, because you know how we could buy clothes that are expensive, but then we don't spend money for our health. That's kind of like inverted priorities.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's interesting you said before about having issues with your digestive system, and there was a point in my life where I had a lot of trouble with that, and it caused me to also have problems with hair follicles. I was starting to lose hair on my legs, right? So my immune system was attacking my own body, and so I had to do some serious evaluation of what was going on, right? And I discovered that my thyroid gland was the sort of the master of most of the other glands in my body, and I started reading what affects your thyroid gland, and I came to find out that heavy metals were a big factor. And so then I started to look into, well, what foods had heavy metals in them, and oh my God, that was an eye-opener for me. I mean, so I eliminated every food in my diet that had heavy metals in it. And I immediately noticed a difference. The other thing that I did was I just started to eat a little bit of Greek yogurt. The Greek yogurt alone had such an effect on me that right away I was like, well, wait a minute. If I could just eat a thing of Greek yogurt once a day and it's having this big effect on me, what else could I do? But eliminating heavy metals from my diet, my allergies are gone.
You see that?
Yeah.
And that's because also you have that wisdom to even stop and assess what's happening in your daily life. Because the answer is usually in us. So I will work with people who are willing to find, and if they need a little help, at least you did it on your own, and great. But each of us have that power to, at some point, it's really just on you.
Yeah. I mean, it had to get pretty bad before I finally did something.
But you're looking good now. You're looking good, and just like you mentioned, and it's always really nice to meet you and be around you in meetings and because and that's the beautiful. That's what I call the side effect of being healthy, is then you attract really nice community.
Yeah. That's good. Any last things that you'd like to add before we end?
Mm. Oh, I just want to really emphasize, and add in addition to what you said about heavy metals, that I just want to really like agree with you strongly that at least if I have to think of the top three things that really people have to pay attention is the presence of heavy metals, because we're always bombarded with that, and we live in such a modern life. Nothing wrong with that also, okay, but there's just so many things that we have to learn to take care of that. And then we also have the tendency to have the presence of parasites, and you don't have to live live in a third world country to have those parasites. And of course we will always have the tendency to be nutrient deficient. So when people can think of those three things when they're not feeling well or not feeling the best, and yeah, don't try to go to the worst situation that happened to you that you said you had to wait for that. But however, if that's your way, if that's the moment for you to wake up, I guess go for it.
Yeah, I mean, not to make this about me, but it was kind of an interesting thing because you talked about how the mind is also involved. And so I noticed that when I was stressed, it was triggering the allergies too. So I was trying to figure out, was it stress? Was it an allergy? You know, and so basically my immune system had risen to a level of like being on alert all the time. So it didn't take much to trigger my immune system to go too far over the top. And so I had to bring that baseline down. And once I got that baseline down, you know, I came back to somewhat normal anyway. I definitely feel great.
Oh, that's good. That's good. And before we wrap up, I also wanted to let the people know that you can know a lot, you can practice about being healthy, and through your day-to-day ways. And as a quantum practitioner, I went for me, this is now I for me the icing and the cake of what I practice is now, since I'm also in my journey of doing my re-spiritualization for my evolution, because we always have to think of how we could evolve more to that quality of life and presence that we're always in alignment with the source. I'm able to share to people some DNA activation techniques that they could use day to day, so that in their quantum cellular molecular level, right in their DNA, they can intentionally modify that, not just according to 23andMe, but really the DNA that the source or God made us. And with that power that we can tap inside our what you call junk DNA, which is really not junk, it's potential intron DNA. When we are confronted with many situations that we seem to have no control, like geopolitical situations, we stand in our ground, we're strong in what we do, we persist standing in our ground that we can protect ourselves and no one else could manipulate us, our body, mind, and spirit. So that's really where my strength comes from and my empowerment, and that's what my motivation to continue what I'm doing through my podcast, through relationships, and that's why I want to become my own frequency source generator.
Nice.
And it's a matter of one person's commitment to do so.
Beautiful. How does somebody get a hold of you, and where can they see your podcast?
On the podcast, if you just Google Quantum Nurse Grace Asagra, then it will show you that I'm in BitChute, I am Rumble, Brighton, ClickView. Those are mostly the videos.
ClickView, you said? And
Yeah, ClickView is not very known yet, and it is that was what Dr. Butar initiated, because I belong to Dr. Butar's community, and we were creating like parallel things, and one of them is ClickView. So it's still in the making. The ones who could see the ClickView are people who are in the community already, in that like-minded community. So that's ClickView.
when you say parallel to what?
To
To
the
mainstream.
to the bad,
Right.
to the heavily censored YouTube.
Right.
Okay, so and any other thing. So we're
Okay.
always doing, and it was kind of like part of the blockchain community.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the then the audio. Just if you search that, and I have my website. It's which there's always a room for improvement for my website. My recent website is quantumnurseeternalhealth.com, and in that I have, for people who just want to get some good things for their skin, for their face, there's products there, and products that we also have tested. So anything that I endorse is something that I will never endorse unless I do it. I use it for me, and we energy test it. When we energy test it, meaning it's not going to break your biofield. So if it breaks your biofield, that means it weakens you, that you're open for any kind of diseases and disorders. So that's what it means for that. And my childhood friend found me by just putting my name, and even my phone number is there at 609-203-5854. And of course my email will always be there as well.
Give me that number again.
609-203-5854. And for the email, it's Grace Asagra, ASAGRA, at ymail, as in letter Y. And I have social media presence. Facebook, I know most people may not like to go to Facebook. Why I stay there is because my family from the Philippines, that's where they usually communicate. So, and I know I'm safe with what I'm doing. I can protect myself in wherever social media I go to.
Right.
So I don't get suspicious because I have my own protection.
I know there's been so much censorship, and you definitely have to have that parallel systems in order to make sure that you don't get shut down or blocked out these days. It's a shame.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the government's calling for more censorship with the whole Israeli Palestine thing. So any opportunity they get to get control over the media, they take it. So.
And this time, as we say, bring it on.
Yeah.
Bring it on and just see what happens. Right.
Well, did I miss anything? Is there anything that you would have liked? Any question you would like me to ask?
I think this is all good. Thank you so much
all right,
for
thank
everything.
You.
Thank
it's
you,
my pleasure.
Drew.
All right.
Take care.
Take a look at the camera for me.